This past summer was quite interesting to say the least. Um, I finished off the spring semester relatively strong. I got all A's and B's, so I was happy and satisfied with that. Finals was difficult, basically because of consecutive interpreting and theory. Having to write that whole literature review was a real pain. But I got through it, and I was just looking forward to having the rest of the summer to focus on working. I am a food runner and cashier, as well as a hostess at Happy Camper Pizzeria. It's a bar in Old Town, and I've been working there about a year now. I got to take a week off after finals, and the day after finals, I got to go to see the 1975, my favorite band, as well as my best friend and roommate's favorite band. We had seen their second tour together back in 2017, and it was super fun to get to relive that excitement. Yeah, it was the best day ever. And the following day, we woke up and took the train to her sister's house, a little bit more south from where we live, and hopped in her car, dropped off the cat, well, my roommate's cat, Posey, with her sister's roommates, and we headed on a road trip to our ultimate destination of Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is where Emma and her sister are from. We started driving, and after I took my first nap, I woke up and we were in this creepy abandoned town, and I found out it was called Gary, Indiana. And her sister was telling me this really interesting story about how during after the Great Depression and all automobile manufacturing went to Detroit, it being Gary, Indiana, was the hub for automobile manufacturing. So once all the business moved to Detroit, all the workers either had the option to stay and not have a job or relocate and move to Detroit, which pretty much the whole town did. So there's just a ton of empty buildings and abandoned houses, and it's super sketchy. But anyways, after we got out of Gary, we did get Chipotle for dinner, which was super yummy, always. We spent the night, stopped driving just to make sure we were safe on the road and set up for a good day. The following day, we stopped in Louisville, Kentucky. We stayed at my roommate and her sister's family friend's house, and we basically just spent the night, left a note, said thank you very much, and headed on, continuing with our journey. We finally arrived in Chattanooga, Tennessee later that afternoon and stopped at Taco Mamacita, which is my roommate, Emma. Emma is her name. I should have mentioned it earlier. It's her favorite Mexican restaurant there, and the food was really good, except I realized later as I got a stomach ache that I stupidly got barbecue sauce in my quesadilla, and I know for a fact that most barbecue sauces aren't gluten-free, and I'm usually pretty on that, but somehow it went over my head, and I was super sick for like a day. So that sucked because the first day of being there on vacation, I was in bed. Once I was feeling better, we headed down Signal Mountain, that's where they're from, and over to Lookout Mountain, which is actually in Georgia. It's close by though, because it's the South, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know my geography of the South very well. I've never been, besides this experience. And all of a sudden I came down with like this really bad nauseating migraine, and I basically had to leave her cousin's graduation party early to go lie down in the back of her parents' car because I felt so sick, and I was sobbing on the phone to my mom. So that wasn't the best, but her mom, Jeannie, really took care of me just like she would have one of her own daughters, and got me all set up with cold medicine and got me all comfortable, and I basically just rested for 3 days. We planned to meet up with our friend Coco in Nashville because her and her family from Myanmar were visiting and traveling the US together, and unfortunately we weren't able to meet up, but we were already on our way to Nashville anyways, and it was 2 hours out of our way, so we thought, what the heck, let's go and check out some tattoo shops. And we walked into this tattoo shop called Gold Club Electric Tattoo, and I flipped through just the first 2 pages of one of these artists' books, and I absolutely fell in love with this piece. It was in traditional color and it was absolutely stunning, but given that we had just seen the 1975 and we always wanted to get matching tattoos, Emma and I, and being that the band's clearly monochromatic, I found it more fitting to get it in black and white. So that was really special to get that together. And as I was on the table getting tattooed, Emma was looking through Instagram and saw that the band was in Nashville literally that night playing a show, and she was like, Rachel, I don't care if you're broke, because I had just spent all my money on that tattoo. I'm gonna buy us tickets, we're going, end of discussion. So we got to see their show again with fresh tattoos, and they soaked up all their living, breathing, waking energy. And yeah, basically we spent Mother's Day with her family, and then left and drove back to Chicago, to the city. I started working 40-hour weeks at Happy Camper, and basically took a week off to go home and visit my family in San Diego. When I came back, I was working, and I'm really proud of myself because, trigger warning about sexual assault. Sorry if that wasn't enough time. I had the confidence and courage to speak up to one of my managers at work about some misconduct that happened with a coworker a couple months prior, and it took a lot of guts for me to do it, but I'm doing a lot better ever since speaking up about it. And recently I threw a birthday party for one of my dear coworkers, Celia. I hosted a little picnic in the park across the street from my house, which was super sweet and fun. And just a few days later, the start of this school semester began. So that was my summer. I am very optimistic about this school year.